everyone can tweet with that hashtag now.
Oh. Okay. Where's Emily?
So supposedly this talk is about front-end metrics collection, but it's also just about how I found out that you could use browser automation for more than just doing like terrible integration tests, and I decided I loved it and got really excited about it. So that's a little background, you might need it. Anyway, a little bit about me. My name's Emily. I'm a UI engineer and team lead, and I work at a company called ModCloth, which is an online retailer that does vintage-inspired and indie fashion. I love CSS and JavaScript, and I'm learning to love Ruby on Rails. And I care a lot about site speed and performance, especially front-end performance. So I wanted to talk about a tool I'm working on to help track my own web performance data. So this is ModCloth, and we're a little bit different from other fashion retailers because we really want to listen to our community and hear what they're excited about and work with indie designers to get their designs made instead of us trying to dictate like what's cool and then sell it to people, which is really great. And then like if you're really great for a long time, then you have like a really old code base. In fact, ours is 5 years old, which is like old enough that it's ready to like start kindergarten and like trade up for a two-wheeler. It's really, really old. And in fact, if you have a really old code base, it's actually just like full of HTML and CSS and JavaScript, and it's usually kind of slow. So that's the problem I'm charged with working on. And I've noticed that as you have an older code base, you have different problems than like if you're a new company. Like, you're much less likely to be worried about these sort of binary problems where you're like, can I log in? Can I create an account? And you're much more likely to worry about these like really difficult optimization problems that are kind of terrifying in like a math textbook kind of way. And like the thing you want to do is turn your optimization problems into binary problems, like get the numbers so that you can say like, yes, my site is fast enough because it loads in X number of seconds. So, site speed. The first problem with site speed is that, like, if you're working on a big team where other people are still committing code, you're kind of like taking code out and they're kind of taking code in, and then you can end up in this like terrible place that's like this circular pivotal tracker of doom, where like one story is like the performance team wants to show fewer products on the search result page, and then like the product team is like, let's show more products, and you just like go round and around forever and you never get anything done. So you really have to motivate everyone. And it turns out that we're lucky to work in like a very data-centered company. So like the key to motivating everyone is just putting this data on the dashboard, and the dashboard has wheels, and so we can like follow people around with it. That's my coworker Rachel, who some of you might know. The other problem is that there's lots of data out there on performance, but it's almost never exactly the data you want. There's a great tool called Web Page Test, which will give you really awesome waterfalls, and it'll give you this really cool film strip thing, which is up there, which actually shows you like the visual step-by-step of how your web page renders, and it gives you this great number, which is like the page speed index, which tells you quantitatively like how fast the UI components actually show up on the page. But it only does like one page load to test. It's not with real user data. It just loads it once, and then it's like, this is how fast your site is, which doesn't give you a very good sense for like how your site does in all these different conditions. So then we have New Relic, which is awesome, and it does real user monitoring, but it's like this great tool that is much more focused on like back-end optimizations. So like it gives you a little bit of front-end data, but like not quite all that you want. And then Google Analytics will actually give you fantastic navigation time API data, like more than you would want actually, like all the stuff, like how long your DNS lookup took and all that. But again, it does averages like New Relic instead of median. So like things are definitely skewed by outliers, and then you're like, maybe that's not the data I want either. So to recap, tons of data, but it's not always the data you want. And the solution to that is like, we decided we wanted to pull one piece of data from like each of these tools, and then another tool called log normal, which does medium load time, and histograms. And histograms, it turns out, are like your best friend, because like a histogram can tell you, like there's that little bump that you see there, and that's like things getting pulled out of the cache, and then people who are like cache misses are like further down, or people who don't have like those assets cached. So like this histogram will give you all this data that just having like an average page load time won't give you. So these three things together, we were like, that's all the data we want. And it's everywhere. So this is our toolkit. We have Capybara WebKit to drive the browser and scrape out this data. ImageMagick to take screenshots of the charts we like the most. A cron job on a Mac Mini to run it once a day, collect the data and dump it into JSON. And then D3 to take our data and graph it over time. And this is awesome, because this is like all the code it takes to log into New Relic. Like, this would be like lines and lines of code without Ruby and Capybara, but this is like, you know, like what, 6 lines, 7 lines? So we log in, we get a screenshot. This is ImageMagick, that's all the screenshot code that like pulls the screenshot out and like crops it and manipulates it, and there's like some method in the middle that you don't even care about. And then like, boom, you can dump it all into a dashboard, and then like, that's the crappy old version of my D3 graph that shows you our load time dropping. And I will skip this over time. And that's me. And if you care about the stuff, it's up on my GitHub, and there's a bunch of great links about performance. Oh.